Hey everybody, it is Scott Branson with Silver and Black today, and it is time for another edition of Las Vegas Raiders News Weekly. Don't go anywhere. It's another week into the offseason, but another week closer to the NFL Combine, and of course, lots of news here in Las Vegas. That's right, we come to you right from Las Vegas. Las Vegas' only independent Raiders news source. We are glad to be with you. Make sure you check out the website, silverandblacktoday.com. And don't forget, subscribe to this channel. Click the button below, subscribe, and don't also forget to hit the notifications bell and select all. That's right, if you don't hit that, you won't get notified every time we have a new video. So do us a favor, make sure you do that. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate you watching all of our videos, listening to our radio show, of course, on CBS Sports Radio 1140, and visiting the website. All right, on to the news of the week. Allegiant Stadium, the Black Pearl in the desert, the Death Star, the Big Owl, whatever you want to call it, it is coming together, folks, and it is magnificent. Just this week, news about the cable system being finished. We talked about that actually last week. This week, we found out now that they are starting to do what we all want them to do. That's enclose that stadium. They are going to put up 7 acres of a plastic polymer roof, ETFE it is called. That roof is going up this week. We heard from our good friends at the Las Vegas Review-Journal, Mick Akers and Rick Velada. They took a tour. You can see here the story and the photos. They showed us that the guys are up there putting these panels up. The netting is going in, as you can see from our video here as well. The netting is going in, which means they are about to start to install those panels that will make up that roof. That's right. They had said that there's a delay. They wouldn't finish the roof until May, and that still may be true, but they've obviously accelerated progress on the stadium roof, and that was exciting to see as well. We called Allegiant Stadium by a couple names. This week we asked you what is the nickname for Allegiant Stadium that will stick. Every place has a nickname, right? And with Raider fans, you knew it was going to be creative. We've heard really 3 primary nicknames. One, of course, is the Death Star. The second one is the Black Pearl. Of course, a pirate reference there, and this dark shape, the black glass of Allegiant Stadium makes a lot of sense. And the third is the Big Owl, the Owl, of course, which is great because you have the Allegiant Airlines Stadium, right? Allegiant Stadium, and of course, the first 2 letters Al for Al Davis makes a lot of sense, the Owl. But overwhelmingly, all of you said, well, not all of you, but majority of you said that you liked the Death Star more. We did a story up on this on the website, so make sure you check that out. A very popular story this week. But what do you want to call the Allegiant Stadium? What's your nickname for the place? Make sure you put it in the comments below and let us know what you think. And check out our survey also that was up on Twitter. Of course, the NFL New Year is right around the corner, just about a month away, March 18th. It all kicks off. That's when teams can go out and sign free agents, do what they want to do as the new year starts. What will the Raiders do? What's the question for you in free agency? Do they go get a receiver in free agency? Do they go get defense in free agency? Our own senior NFL columnist, Mo Moten, he said his approach would be this. He would go out and get all the defense the Raiders needed. Well, not all, but most impactful players in free agency. He went through some of the players there that you can see listed here. As far as wide receivers go and addressing the offensive issues this team has, of course, the Raiders, what a great draft last year. They took care of running back with Josh Jacobs and Alec Ingold. They took care of tight ends, signing Darren Waller and drafting Foster Moreau. And then the big offensive line they have set there. They need help at wide receiver. Mo says they should dip into the draft for that. Of course, as you guys know, this draft, this NFL draft, so deep at wide receiver, and he says it would be best to do that. Does that mean you don't consider free agents? Not at all. But what it does mean is that there's going to be so much top-level talent in the draft, and the Raiders having all those draft picks, including in the first round, they might just go get a guy like this one, CeeDee Lamb. I know a lot of you love this kid, along with Henry Ruggs III. as well. So we will see. Will it be T. Higgins? We don't know yet, but Mo's story is a great one. Make sure you check that out on silverandblacktoday.com. The other issue that keeps coming up is Derek Carr. Of course, I have said all along, I believe Derek Carr will be the Raiders starting quarterback in 2020, but you never know, folks. With the Combine starting this coming week, teams have been rumored to be interested in Derek Carr. Again, that's rumored. We don't know for certain. But if you look at this, our good friend Vincent Bonsignor over at the Las Vegas Review-Journal, of course, Vinny also on the show a lot with us on CBS Sports Radio 1140, Vinny says that he wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of interest in Derek Carr because of the chatter around Tom Brady, true or not, because of the fact that there is no distinction that the Raiders are completely satisfied with Derek Carr. There's also nothing out there to say that they're not. But nonetheless, Vinny here, as you can see in these two tweets, one where he says, hey, he wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of people asking. Doesn't mean Derek Carr will be traded, folks. It just means they might be asking. Then he clarified his tweet, as you can see in the second one below, that that doesn't mean he's on the block, folks. Just because someone inquires about a player does not mean his current team has him on the block. We're not saying that. Vinny wasn't saying that based on what he said on Twitter. So I want to make that perfectly clear. We're not saying they're going to trade Derek Carr or that Derek Carr's on the trading block. But the conversation around Derek Carr continues. It hasn't stopped. And by what Vinny has said, Vinny's a very connected NFL writer, knows owners, knows general managers very, very well. We are hearing the same thing. And he says that there might be some interest, there might be some callers who come in and say, hey, we'd like to ask you about Derek Carr. So we'll keep an eye on that. Read the story we have up there from, again, Mo Moten, who wrote about this and said, hey, what about Derek Carr? What if they were going to trade him? What would they get for him? And what would they do to replace him? Make sure you read the story and check it out on silverandblacktoday.com. And NFL news that impacts the Raiders and impacts all fans. Of course, you heard towards a Thursday, the NFL announced that it had reached agreement on the new collective bargaining agreement with the players, which is massively huge. No work stoppage ahead for the NFL. It also includes a lot of changes to the game. Now, the NFL put out kind of a cryptic statement saying they had all agreed to it. Now it had to go to the players. The players and the players union must approve it before it becomes rule, before they all agree on the CBA. But some very interesting things happening with this CBA. We don't have the details, but it was reported a couple things. Number one, the season will increase to 17 games. But more than that, folks, they're going to change the way the playoffs are done. That's right, a change with the NFL playoff system for the first time in a long time. Here's the details on what they're projecting will change with the season starting this year, starting in 2020. First of all, as I mentioned, the regular season will increase to 17 games per team, and we've heard this. We don't know yet if that includes an extra bye week, which throughout this whole process of the collective bargaining agreement, they have said that that would be part of the deal the players would want as an extra week for health and safety reasons, but we'll see that. So 17 games will be on the slate. We're going to see football for one more week. The other thing, the big things here, they're going to expand the playoffs to 7 teams from each conference. That's right, 7 teams from each conference. That means that in addition to an extra team getting into the playoffs, only 1 team from each conference, folks, will receive a first round bye as opposed to the 2 that currently do, league sources have said. Now, that would mean a revised postseason schedule that includes 6 games on Wild Card Weekend, with 3 on that Saturday and 3 on that Sunday. More football. That's incredible. We all love that. But at the same time, you have to wonder what this will mean for playoffs and for teams trying to make the drive to the Super Bowl, because we know, for example, that teams who've had that bye has been important. If you look at the last several Super Bowl winners, they've all had that bye. And if they don't get one this year and only 1 team per conference gets it, what does that mean? Those are the kind of questions we also have to ask. Also, the expansion, does it really help? Does it really do anything? Or is this simply just a grab, a money grab? Let's be greedy, owners. Let's go get another game. Let's expand the playoffs so we can get more TV money. But is it really going to help? If you look at the Raiders, for example, as Josh Dubrow, the AP writer from the Bay Area, wrote, that the Raiders under the new format still still would have only made the playoffs 1 year in the last 17. So is it going to help get more teams in the playoffs and give more cities, for example, more fans, some hope? Probably not. But this is early news, so we will dive deep into that. We'll talk about it on next week's Silver and Black Today on the radio, on CBS Sports Radio. So we'll take a look at that. But clearly, a 17-game schedule is coming and a change to the way the playoffs in the NFL occur. Okay, on to the radio show. Of course, as you know, every Sunday, 8 to 10 a.m. all year round, 12 months a year, we have the Silver and Black Today show on CBS Sports Radio 1140 in Las Vegas. That show can be streamed nationwide on the free radio.com app, where you can get music, sports talk from all over the country, from the biggest stations, you name it, you can get it there. Our show, 8 to 10 a.m. on Sundays. We're always there during the season. We have a Tuesday night show that's on hiatus for the summer, but we will be back in the fall. But this week, we, for the first time in 97 weeks, we're taking a little break, folks. I'm going to spend some time with my kids, spend some time with my family, and maybe sleep in for once on Sunday. But check it out. We have a best of the Silver and Black today and some great, great conversation. First, to kick off the show, we talked to Steve Delshon. Steve Delshon is a guy who wrote a book with the great John Matuzak, the Twos, the late, great John Matuzak. He wrote a book with Twos while he was still alive, kind of his autobiography, and he talks a lot about John Matuzak. Not only that, folks, but John Matuzak's mother, that's right, Audrey Matuzak, great lady, called into the show, and we have a conversation with her as well about her son and how appreciative she was that we were remembering him near the 30th anniversary of his passing, unfortunately. So listen to that one. Second up, we have a conversation with Professor Travis Vogan. Travis wrote a book about NFL films, the frozen tundra, you know, all the good stuff. And of course, the autumn wind. The NFL Films crew gave us the autumn wind, the theme of the Raiders. Make sure you listen to that. We talked to him about the history and importance of NFL films and also the importance of building that Raiders mystique. So make sure you listen to that. Last up, the final hour, for the entire hour, we bring you our very in-depth and revealing conversation with former Raiders troubled quarterback Todd Marinovich, who struggled with addiction, struggled with all kinds of issues. Todd sat down and talked with us this past fall. We will bring you that interview again in its entirety. We thought it was important to do that. If you haven't heard that, I know a lot of you new viewers, new listeners just got to us this season, and this was before the season started. Make sure you listen to that interview with Todd Marinovich. Great stuff, and he's got great artwork going on. He's also been commissioned to do a painting of Allegiant Stadium for owner Mark Davis, which is going to hang in his office at the stadium. So make sure you listen to that interview. That again is on the Silver and Black Today. This week, the best of the Silver and Black Today on CBS Sports Radio 1140 and the radio.com app. If you miss all of those, don't worry. We also post the audio here on YouTube, but you can get it in iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, Podcaster, wherever you get your podcasts and audio, you will find the archive of our show immediately following our show on Sunday. So at 10 a.m. our Sunday show ends. By 10:30, that show is up for your listening enjoyment, and we appreciate that as always. We will be back live next week on CBS Sports Radio 1140, so make sure you stay tuned for who our guests are and what we'll be talking about. And we'll see what news transpires this week as the Combine gets set for Indianapolis. For everyone here at the Silver and Black Today, we appreciate you. Again, don't forget to subscribe below, hit the notifications bells, click all, folks, click all, because if you do that, you won't miss a video. If you just hit subscriptions, you won't catch the videos, you won't know when we're live. For example, we live simulcast the radio show. You won't know that, so make sure, it's very important, you hit the notifications and all buttons, the bell down there to stay in touch with us. All right, for everybody here, again, thank you. We'll be back next week with another video to summarize the week that was from Las Vegas, from the capital. That's right, the capital of Raider Nation. And until that time, may the autumn wind always be at your back. See you later, everybody.